Today we're going to be replacing the quick releases on this brand new Bike Tricks Swift CVT, which is an awesome bike. But when you go to the grocery store, you don't want to be thinking about losing your front wheel or your seat post, which is as easy as this to have stolen by someone, which sucks really, especially when you just want to be able to use your bike. That's a jet fighter going over. Don't know why. This is a nice $100 cushy seat. You want to be able to enjoy your bike, right? You can't if you lose the things and then you have to bike home with all your groceries or whatever without a seat. So to avoid that, or again, very easy to remove your front wheel with a quick release system. You just pull this, the whole thing comes undone. I don't want to do that right now because it messes with the disc brake, but what we can do is replace the quick release systems with Pinhead systems, which makes it so much more difficult for people to steal. Again, nothing is guaranteed, but it is a lot better than a quick release system, and we've never had anything stolen when we've had the Pinheads on. So this is a pack of everything you kind of need. It comes with everything from the actual key that you would be using. So each of these are a very specific key type, and they only open yours. Then you have things like this for the front wheel. This replaces the skewer. We're going to get to that in a moment. And then you have the collar for the seat post replacements right here. Let's put that on. This is what a normal one looks like. So you push it in like that. You pull like that to take it off. So to replace this, we actually just need to start spinning it off. And then it comes off. Then you'll see that these have different rings in them. These are shims for different seat posts. So this does not work there. Now we're going to just see if this is thick enough for that. I think we have just the right amount of oomph right here. In this case, we didn't need any shims. Okay, we're good. So now it's as simple as this. Seriously, this is how it works. So you can't get a wrench or anything around this to be able to get it off. I mean, again, there are ways to do this, but most thieves are going to be moving on to the next bike. By the time they look at this, they're like, ugh, not one of these. So this side is clean. You can't really get a good grasp on it. And then we put that on, loosely do this finger tight. Then we're going to put the seat post on. And at this point, things start making sense. I usually put one finger down like this, and then I start hunting because there's one position where it locks in. Then you're going to make sure your seat post is straight up here. Actually, right before I do lock it down, let me undo this real quick. Never put your seat post above this line right here. There's usually markings. A few vertical lines there are where you should never put your seat post past. So never lock it into a position like this because of leverage. You don't want to be riding around with a seat post that's like this. Ever. Don't do that. Don't do it because you could bend either your frame and destroy it, which sucks. That's your whole bike written off. Or you don't want it to hurt your seat post either. So I'm kind of maxing it out here, but just go like that. Lock it in place. So now no one can come and just steal your seat post. Before it was boop and gone. Now it can't. It just can't happen. So you're safe. Now let's move on to the front wheel and its quick release, which is right here. Quick releases work like this. They go like that, and then your wheel can come off just like that through right down here. You don't want that when you're at a grocery store. So we're going to go ahead and remove it. You grab this side with one hand, and then we're going to spin this like so, and it's going to just fully pop out at some point. Again, I'm grabbing the other side here. Okay, there we go. It fully released. And now, something that not a lot of people see is, come on, get out of there. Okay, we're going to remove the entire core here. So that's that. You just removed it entirely. Now we get to go and replace that with this. There's the disc brake side, which is on the left here. We're going to actually have it so that, oh, there's a spider right here. Hey bud, can you go elsewhere? There we go, perfect. So there's two sides to this Pinhead solution. There's the absolutely nothing on this side, then there's the actual key side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take this off, spinning it off. I'm gonna choose to spear it through here just like that. Pops out the other side. And now we'll line this up. You'll see right here that there are 3 little corners here. You'll want to do this. So you'll want the one big fat piece of metal facing in, so it goes right in this gap in your fork. Place this washer on. Place this. Now we're going to go to finger tight. We'll adjust the wheel in just a few moments. Hopefully it stayed where it needed to stay, but I highly doubt that. We now have it on there, but it's very loose. You would not want to ride away like this. So now you have fully replaced the quick release with something that you can tighten and leave outside of any place for quite a while. So yeah, if we were to compare the two from before and after, this can be just stolen by simply releasing it, unscrewing it a little bit, like so, and then your wheel pops off. Now with this, you have it so that you can't do that. And you can make it all pretty and go like this and put a cap on. And now it's really nice looking. Okay, we're gonna do the spin test of the wheel. Looks pretty good. There's some rubbing on the brake, but that's for another time. I think I'm done with this setup right now. Okay, so we've now done the seat post collar, we've done the front wheel, and now let's do the back wheel. There's some panniers in the way, so I'm gonna just quickly release those. These are really on there. So in this case, I'll just do that to show you the back here. This bike is special. It has a belt drive. It's a rear wheel CVT. It is awesome. But you also might notice the thing that looks similar to your bike, most likely, is that they all have these bolts. That's a given. When you replace something back here, it's not gonna be like this. This won't go all the way through, right? So we're gonna actually replace them with these. These are still Pinhead, but they use a different mechanism here. So they are still specially cut. And then you put this on like that, and then you use a wrench to undo your bolt. But you can't just quite do that here. It doesn't quite work. So let's get to removing this with just a wrench. Lefty loosey. Really on there. Now we're just gonna put that on. I am realizing that this is the wrong size, so that's a bit too loose. Gonna put that back on, and I guess we get to lock up the wheel in a different way. Normally I would have put these on, now I just have to order a different pair. I had these laying around from a previous bike, which worked, but they are not working right now. In this case, I wasn't able to replace the back bolts, unfortunately. I just had the wrong size because I was not custom ordering these for this bike. I just had them laying around from previously. But I was able to replace the collar for the seat post right here. So that is a big one where you don't have to worry about your seat. It's really nice. And then I was able to replace the front wheel quick release as well. And that makes it so you really only have to focus on the rear triangle, which is where you normally want to lock it. And having a cable run from here to there to do your front wheel, it's always annoying. When you have a car, you simply jump in and turn it on and go. And then you get to the parking lot, you find a space to park, you turn off your car, and you walk away and lock it. Sometimes they even lock on their own. You want to get to as close to that as possible with a bike. You want to roll up to your rack and lock with a U-lock and just go in. In this case, one thing that you would be able to do, especially for shorter lockups, because we have the rear wheel that is unprotected with just bolts, one thing you'd be able to do is just do the lock on the wheel. It's within this triangle here. You can technically saw everything apart here. You could saw a piece of the wheel out and you could steal the entire bike. At that point, that's a lot of effort for anyone. And I personally would not even, if I were a thief, I'd be like, why would I want to do that? Destroy the bike, have to get a new wheel, like, that would be so crazy. So in this case, for a lot of the different errands that we end up doing, so grocery runs and, I don't know, running errands, visiting places, right here would be mostly totally fine. And worst case, you bring 2 U-locks, lock here, lock there. At that point, no one really wants your bike. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go steal the one next to it. But either way, we are pretty much set up so that now Natalia can actually use this to go grocery shopping and not just commute to work where she's able to, woo, windy. And that's because we've replaced the front wheels quick release system, which is just rubbish. Everyone should not have those. At least have just regular bolts if you're gonna be using this as a utility bike. If you're not doing biking as a sport, don't ever have quick release. The amount of time that you end up saving when you have a flat versus every other time that you're locking up your bike, let's say at the grocery store or whatnot, it's totally not worth having a quick release. Like, they should not be standard in North America or anywhere really. You should have to opt in for those, or if they're for recreational bikes. But anyways, now we have a bike that can be used for groceries and other errands, and not just for recreation or commuting. Okay, thanks for joining me. Now I have to put everything away.